Welcome to Community Conversations. I am Queen Miss Ebony J. You're listening and watching 1230 The Buzz, your talk station on 101.1 The Wiz, 100.3 Cincy's R&B station. If you've never listened to Community Conversations before, this is where we come to talk about things that's happening in our community and how nonprofit organizations are making a difference. And I am Queen Miss Ebony J. My goal is to make sure that our community has access to resources. And I'm excited about today because I have Miss Amy Cheney in the building. She's here representing Crayons and Computers. She is the president and CEO. How are you doing today, beautiful?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Ebony.
So glad to have you here with us today. I've been driving past and I've been hearing about Crayons and Computers. I had an opportunity to actually shop at Crayons and Computers through an organization that I was working with the Don Community School.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So having that opportunity, I was like, I think it's only right we bring you on to talk about it, because some people may not even know what it is that you all do. And I believe that you are truly supporting our teachers in a way that's truly important. You know, we're like the lowest paid on the totem pole, right? And so having to pay for supplies and things out of our pocket can be hard sometimes. So for those who are not familiar, tell us who Crayon and Computers is.
Well, Crayons to Computers is a nonprofit organization. We are now 26 years old, and we exist to level the playing field in the classroom by ensuring that teachers can provide their students in need with the tools to succeed in school. And as you said, teachers don't make a lot of money, but there are so many teachers that care so much about the success of their students that they have, for many years in some cases, taken money out of their own pocket to provide those basic items. And it certainly includes the school supplies, the basic things like pencils and notebooks and crayons and scissors and rulers and all of those kinds of things that are on your typical back to school supply list. But teachers are also providing other things in their classrooms, and again, have been doing it for a long time in some cases. Those might be things like enhancement items that make their classrooms inviting and warm and comfortable and really conducive to learning, a little less institutional than they start out. And it also includes things like incentive items, and teachers will buy a bag of Jolly Ranchers or whatever kind of candy to have in their prize box to provide incentives for good behavior, good performance, whatever their particular system might be. But those are typically coming out of their own pocket. And so Crayons to Computers exists to help to alleviate some of that burden for those teachers. And we've worked with Don Community Schools for a number of years. We've provided a lot to help Don Community Schools, and what a amazing story that is.
Yes, I know. Now, what type of teachers do you all serve?
Teachers, there's a couple sort of descriptors. First, there are 16 counties that we serve. So 6 counties in Ohio, 7 in Northern Kentucky, and 3 counties in Indiana is our official service area. So that's kind of the first cut. The second is that we serve teachers from preschool all the way through 12th grade. And then within a school, if it's a K-12 school and at least 55% of the student population is benefiting from the free and reduced lunch program, then teachers in that school qualify to shop. And if it's a preschool program, at least half of the students are benefiting from some form of state assistance to participate in the preschool program. They would also, the teachers would qualify to shop. And so that's kind of the macro picture of who our shoppers might be. And I'll just mention that this coming school year will be our 3rd year with a change to our business model, which was to put in place an access fee. We needed to generate a little bit more revenue because it costs money to do what we do, and we raise a lot of money to do that. But we had a bit of a structural funding gap that we needed to fix, and so we put in place an access fee. It is a per teacher fee, and it's either $25 or $30. But we didn't want it to come out of teachers' pockets, and so we worked really hard to find other ways for that to be paid. We've had grants that have supported the teacher access fees for a group of teachers. We've had school districts and school principals put money into their budgets to cover. and so forth. So we've been able to cover lots of teachers in lots of ways, and a relatively small percentage of teachers have actually paid out of pocket. And we also have a few situations where teachers are personally struggling with their financial situation, and so we have a small hall pass fund that a donor and several donors have provided so that we can defray that cost. They can do a very simple application and then we can cover them. So we don't want that access fee to be in the way for anyone to come and shop here. So
when you say hall pass fund, what do you mean?
Well, it's just as I said, if there's a teacher who cannot personally afford the $25 or $30 to get access to Crayons to Computers, they can complete a very brief application that we review on a rolling basis, and just tell a little bit about their situation. And then if approved, then we would cover that for them. So using that hall pass fund, and that's made possible by one foundation and some individual donors who just wanted to help out and not make it ever to be a burden for teachers. So that's a process that we're gearing up for again for this next year.
Oh, I don't know why I thought the schools paid for it.
Well, they can. It's a whole range of different possibilities, but yes, schools in lots of cases have paid to cover their teachers, and some districts have paid to cover their teachers. So, and then the bottom line is that once a teacher is sort of registered to shop, they can shop up to 10 times during the year. And so the average visit to the Teacher Resource Center or the store generates, I think this past year, it was a little over $500 worth of value that the teacher is taking back to his or her classroom. So even though there's a small access fee, it pays for itself very, very quickly, regardless of who is footing the bill. And it's a lot of value that goes back to the school. And, again, up to 10 times during the year would represent quite a significant amount to that classroom. The average teacher right now is shopping probably between 3 and 4 times during the school year. So, but still, that can be fairly significant.
Yeah, especially how much what Kleenex costs. Them kids up and use Kleenex for anything, boy. And
yeah.
And oh my Lord, you I don't even think that they know that they have to bring a pencil to class.
Well, and that could be. And the fact of the matter is that with there are many families in our community who, in spite of working hard and trying to provide for their families, there just are gaps. There are lots of people who, even though they have a job or maybe multiple jobs, still cannot afford everything that their family might need. So if there's a family that struggles to put food on the table, just imagine where school supplies will fall in their list of priorities. I think everybody knows that school supplies are important, but the reality is that people do struggle with barriers that are created by poverty, and school supplies is not going to be the number one. I mean, if you're a family, putting food on your table is going to be the most important thing. Making sure you've got a roof over your head, clothing, medicine if there's a health situation. So, all of those things become more important than school supplies, but it still means that school supplies need to come from somewhere. So it's our honor to be able to work with teachers to provide for the needs to be met in the classroom as much as possible.
What made you, I mean, I know I kind of skipping around, but I want to know, like, what made you decide to do this as work? Like, where did this passion come to be like, I got to save the teachers? Where did the teacher be for?
Well, that's a great question. I spent almost 24 years of my career with the Greater Cincinnati Foundation. So I had been in the nonprofit sector for a long time and got to a point where I was ready to do something different and was trying to figure out what it was going to be. My parents both were teachers when I was growing up, and education is in my blood. I'm a school supply geek. I love school supplies and, notebooks and fun pens and, all of those kinds of things. I've always loved new school supplies. And so when I heard about the opportunity at Crayons to Computers, was going to be an open position, it was just about 6 years ago. I literally felt a spark of excitement in my gut, and I thought that would be really fun. And, yes, what we're doing is important, and it is work, but it really speaks to me. So that's kind of where my passion comes from, that kind of whole constellation of things. And I just love the work. We have a fantastic team, and we run on so much volunteer help. We've got a wonderful group of volunteers that come in on a regular basis, and our board and our committees. So it just makes it a joy to be able to work with all of these people, and then to have the opportunity to interact with teachers and to help them out and hear the comments and the stories that they have to tell. Just, makes it very, very rich and very real.
Because to be able to decorate your classroom and make it your own, oh my
Yes.
goodness, to have supplies for the kids. I know we had a scent in a class. So when we would come in and they get to light up the scent, we had a bean bag in the classroom. Little things like that, people don't understand how it makes a big difference.
Right.
We do serve, those that are poverty, in poverty in Cincinnati, with that being, something that they're going through. You don't know what barrier they just had to overcome
Exactly.
to
Right.
walk through the classroom door. So you
Right.
want to have that safe space for them. This
Exactly.
is really, really amazing.
Yeah.
What you're doing.
We hear from our teachers pretty frequently that the children that they are that they're working with are often just living in chaos. There are some, as you said, the barriers that are thrown up in front of so many of the children in our community. It just makes their lives very chaotic. So you're right, to be able to come into a classroom and to know that they are going to have what they need to do their work. And when you think about it, what's the job that a kid has to do? A child's job is to learn. They get 13 years to learn and get prepared for life. And, if they have to figure out, well, where's that pencil going to come from? And where am I going to find paper to do my homework? And that's just another level of complexity and chaos that we can do something about that. It's a small thing maybe, but in the end, it can make a difference. So it's important.
Now, aside from providing regular like pencils and paper and that kind of stuff, what other supplies do you all provide to teachers and to support
Sure.
students?
Yes, when people come into our teacher resource center, or as I said, the store, they'll often say, "I feel like I just stepped into Staples." So when you walk in, there's a whole wall of backpacks, and there's actually a wall that extends beyond that has all of that core product, all the stuff that's on that back to school supply list. But we have a whole range of office supplies, which might be file folders or envelopes, or we call filing aids, labels, a whole range of things like that. We get lots of donations, and something that's important to know is that the product that's in our store is all donated in one way or another. Either as an outright donation of it's a slightly damaged item but still usable, or it's excess inventory, or it's not performing inventory. So, before it becomes completely worthless, a company might donate it. So it's a range of different products. We purchase a small amount because of the financial donations that we get. But so we get a lot of donations of paper goods. So we'll have toilet paper, and sometimes we'll have tissues, not always. We have some hygiene product. We get hand sanitizer, especially post-COVID. We still have face masks, and we'll probably still have those out in the store, and there will probably still be a need for them from time to time. But we will also have feminine hygiene product and deodorant, toothbrushes and toothpaste, those kinds of hygiene items. We pretty much always have 3-ring binders. We get lots of used 3-ring binders. Occasionally we'll get new ones, but we pretty consistently have at least used ones, and then we try to make sure that they're in good shape. Let me think what else we've got. We get a lot of sort of seasonal decorative kinds of items. And so we'll have a section of seasonal stuff. And we do try to, we'll get, for instance, Halloween stuff in November. We put it up in our warehouse and bring it out in, late September, early October, so that teachers who want to decorate their classroom for Halloween can come and get those kinds of items. So we have various seasonal items throughout the year. We get lots of books, particularly used books, but we have been seeing more and more new books of late. Teachers can get a whole range of used books, from preschool kind of picture books all the way through high school, and then some books that would be more like teacher resources. We've started a STEAM section, which STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so it could be a whole bunch of things. And that's kind of a little bit of a catch-all, but you never know what you're going to find in that section. We do with some regularity have items that can be used as incentive items for a teacher's prize box. And that could be a whole range of things from some candy to, little flashlights or Post-it notes or little notepads. I mean, a whole range of different things. We have a big miscellaneous section, which we get one-off donations from lots of different individuals, and some, used office supplies like, a stapler that somebody's transferring to another location for their company, and the stapler gets boxed up and donated rather than shipped. It's just cheaper for the company to do that. And then finally, the last big section is our program called Crafts with Conviction. It's a program almost as old as we are, and it is a partnership between Crayons to Computers and the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction. And so we work with them and with about 16 different prisons and juvenile detention facilities in Ohio. We'll provide raw materials and some instruction, and then their community service program volunteers turn those into items that we can distribute through the store. So it could be cutouts, die cuts. So it could be all sorts of different shapes, butterflies or tractors, or a whole range of different things, small ones, large ones. Those could be for art projects or for bulletin boards. Or I've seen an example where a teacher used some cutouts for students to make graphs, like how many such and such. So they have, here's a tractor, okay, there were 3. And so that kind of the early graphing. But there's also shape journals with a few pieces of paper in between for students to, draw pictures or do their story that they're writing or whatever. Lots of printed pieces for a range of different things. We also have manipulatives. Some of the prisons have sewing machines and make puppets or tote bags or little craft aprons, which are absolutely adorable. Lots of bottle caps, clean, never used bottle caps that can be used for markers and for learning how to tell how many something is by the shape of the dots. So like if the dots are 3 and 3, you can look at that and know that that's 6. And so there's sets of bottle caps with different numbers of dots on them for learning that kind of visual recognition. Just a whole range of different items. There's hall passes and certificates and lots of things that teachers can put to use directly in their classroom and without a whole lot of preparation. They don't have to do all the die cut or the cutting out of the shapes and things like that. So that is way more than you wanted to know, I'm sure, about what's in the store, but there's a lot of stuff in the store.
As you can see, you just gotta come on by because they have everything. I see why they call it like a Staples. Sound like a mixture of Staples and Hobby Lobby put together, because you start
a little bit
the crafts.
Yeah. And there's probably, I know I missed some things, but and we love to give tours. So if there's somebody who's interested in learning more about what we do, we're happy to give tours. The store is not open right now in the summer because we take a little break. There's a lot that we have to do during the summer to get ready for the new school year. So we won't be open again for a bit, but this is I wouldn't even say it's our downtime because we stay pretty busy during the summer, but just not public facing with our teachers right now.
How can we donate or get involved? Because I heard you say that it's all done through volunteer work. So
yep.
I'm listening and I want to start volunteering my time. How do I go about it?
Yeah. Well, the first thing would be to check our website, which is www.crayons2computers.org. And there's a tab on our website for volunteers. So that's going to be a good place to get started. You'll see more information about volunteering. We have kind of 2 major ways that people can volunteer. One is what I would call an episodic volunteer. So it might be your company wants to send a group of employees out into the community as a community service day. And so you might have, we usually say up to a dozen employees can sign up. And through our website, there'll be information about how to do this. And so you might come once this summer, but then not again for 6 or 8 months. So that's really episodic. And we absolutely love having groups of volunteers. And it can be a corporate volunteer or a group, or it could be a civic group or a church group. So lots of different kinds of groups come to volunteer every so often. And then The other way that people can volunteer is on a regular basis, and we call those volunteers our family volunteers. And they can come in and really get to know us, but sign up for a particular day. And so they might come in every day or every week or every month to help out during the school year with different kinds of tasks. So that's how people can get involved. And also on our website, there's lots of different information about how to become a donor. And we're getting ready to kick off our Push for Pencils, which is our back to school supply drive. And that will run, it really kind of gets started informally in late July, but will run definitely into mid to late September. And those supply drives, again, can be in a company, in an organization, a church group. You can be watching for the back to school ads and collect physical supplies when you find those great prices and just put them in a barrel in the lobby of your organization. Let us know. We can provide materials and signage and things like that to help make it, help make that process go more smoothly. And then at some point in, 6 weeks or a month or two later, we would be able to collect up those items to make them available in the store or through some of our other distribution programs. So that's another way people can get involved, or just outright donations through our website. Or by check. So there's lots of ways for people to get involved. And in fact, there's also a way to do a backpack build if you have a group of folks that wants to do that. And you can order the supplies through our website, ship them to your location, do a build, on a Saturday afternoon or something like that, and then develop kits that would be distributed through Crayons. So lots of different options. Those are a few.
Share the website again.
Sure, it's www.crayons, CRAYONS, the number 2, computers, COMPUTERS.org. And look for the volunteer tab, or I think it's, I don't remember the tab name. Hold on, I'm going to look at it right now. The other tab would be Connect. So volunteer is to find out about volunteering. Connect is ways to connect either as a donor or to do, I think the kit building is on there as well. So lots of resources.
Make sure you head on over to the site so you can get the resources that you need, especially for the teachers. If you know a teacher, please share the resources. They may not have known this was here to support them. And that is the reason why I wanted to bring you on. I really appreciate you coming by today, Miss Amy. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Ebony. Have a great summer.
Yes, you too. This is Community Conversations on 1230 The Buzz, your talk station, 101.1 The Wiz, 100.3 Cincy's R&B station. If you would like to be a guest, all you have to do is shoot me an email at msebonyj radio-1.com. I'm Queen Ebony on Facebook, or Miss Ebony J on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. I follow back. We got to get connected. Hope to see you soon. This is, again, Community Conversations.